Today's story follows Maria Gonzalez, a 15-year-old immigrant living in East Oakland, where dreaming beyond her circumstances was not only discouraged, but also treated as a betrayal of the community. In a neighborhood where ambition was seen as arrogance and success, stories were those of criminals or those who got lucky. Maria found herself caught between a burning hunger for more and a family that constantly reminded her to know her place. Sleeping on a couch in a one-bedroom apartment shared by 5 people, working to support her family while watching her mother's spirit slowly fade from years of unseen labor, Maria was surrounded by invisible rules that told people like her to be grateful for survival and never dare to ask for more. But what Maria discovered in secret would change her life forever. But before we begin this story, I ask that you help me by subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and telling me which city you're watching from. This will help me reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. In East Oakland, dreaming beyond your circumstances wasn't just discouraged, it was treated like a betrayal of your community. Maria Gonzalez learned this lesson early, watching her older sister Carmen get mocked by neighbors when she mentioned wanting to become a nurse. "Aye, Carmen, you think you're better than us?" laughed Mrs. Rivera from across the hallway of their cramped apartment building. "Your mama cleans houses, your papa works construction. That's what we do here. Don't get fancy ideas." Maria was 15 then, standing quietly in the corner of their one-bedroom apartment that housed 5 people, absorbing every word. The message was clear. Ambition was arrogance, and arrogance was abandonment of your people. The neighborhood reinforced these invisible rules daily. On Fruitvale Avenue, where corner stores had bulletproof glass and hope seemed as scarce as fresh groceries, success stories were either criminals who'd made money the wrong way or people who had gotten lucky and moved away, never to be seen again. "Mija, listen to me," her grandmother Abuela Rosa would whisper whenever Maria expressed any desire beyond their immediate reality. "We are good people. We work hard, we take care of family, we don't ask for more than God gives us. These other dreams, they're not for girls like you." Maria's high school counselor, Mr. Peterson, delivered the same message with bureaucratic politeness. "Maria, your English is improving, but let's be realistic about your options. Maybe community college, maybe a certification program. Your family situation, well, we have to consider your responsibilities." Those responsibilities were real and crushing. Every day after school, Maria rushed home to watch her 2 younger brothers while her parents worked double shifts, her mother as a hotel housekeeper, her father loading trucks at a warehouse. Her own dreams had to wait in line behind grocery money, rent, and keeping the family afloat. But late at night, when the apartment finally fell silent except for the distant hum of highway traffic, Maria would lie on the couch that served as her bed and feel something burning inside her chest. It wasn't anger. It was hunger, a desperate, aching hunger for something more than the cycle she saw playing out in every apartment around her. She watched her mother come home exhausted every night, her hands cracked from cleaning chemicals, her spirit worn down by years of invisible labor. She saw her father's shoulders getting more bent with each passing year, his dreams buried under the weight of providing for a family in a system that seemed designed to keep them exactly where they were. "This is our life, Maria," her mother would say with resignation during their rare quiet moments together. "We survive, that's enough. Don't make it harder by wanting things that aren't meant for us." But Maria couldn't shake the feeling that survival wasn't enough. In her English class, when they read stories about people who had transformed their lives, she felt something ignite inside her. When she wrote essays about her future goals, Mr. Thompson would sometimes pull her aside. "You have a gift with words, Maria, but you need to be practical. Focus on what's achievable." Achievable, realistic, practical. These words had become the prison bars of her neighborhood, and everyone seemed content to live within them. Everyone except Maria, who lay awake at night, planning escape routes from a life that felt too small for the dreams that refused to die inside her. She didn't know it yet, But her transformation would begin not with a dramatic moment, but with a single decision to stop accepting other people's definitions of what was possible for a girl from East Oakland whose parents had never graduated high school and whose zip code was supposedly her destiny. The crime of dreaming was about to find its rebel. The discovery happened in the most unlikely place, the public library's computer lab, where Maria went to complete homework assignments she couldn't finish at home due to lack of internet. While researching for an essay on American dreams, she stumbled across a video that would change the trajectory of her life. The title was simple: How I Went from Poverty to Purpose. The speaker was a woman who looked remarkably like Maria's mother. Same tired eyes, same calloused hands, but something was different. She carried herself with a quiet confidence that Maria had never seen in anyone from her neighborhood. "I used to believe that my circumstances were my identity," the woman said, looking directly into the camera. "I thought being poor meant thinking poor, acting poor, and staying poor. But I learned something that changed everything. Your current reality is not your permanent address." Maria found herself leaning closer to the screen, her heart racing. This woman was speaking a language that felt both foreign and familiar. Foreign because no one in East Oakland talked like this. Familiar because it echoed the hunger she felt every night lying on that couch. The video led to others. Carol Dweck explaining growth mindset. Napoleon Hill discussing the power of definiteness of purpose. James Clear breaking down how small daily habits could compound into life-changing transformations. But Maria had to be careful. The library computers were monitored, and she couldn't risk anyone from her neighborhood seeing what she was watching. She created a secret ritual. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she would tell her mother she needed extra time at school for tutoring. Instead, she would spend 2 hours in the library, absorbing content that felt like discovering fire. She filled a small notebook with quotes and insights, hiding it between her mattress and the couch frame. "Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution," she wrote, copying Napoleon Hill's words with trembling hands. But keeping this new knowledge secret became increasingly difficult. At home, Maria found herself biting her tongue when relatives complained about their circumstances without considering solutions. When her cousin Diego got arrested for dealing drugs, and everyone shook their heads, saying, "That's just how it is for boys from here," Maria wanted to scream that it didn't have to be that way. The real test came during a family gathering. Her Aunt Mercedes was lamenting about her daughter's college rejections, saying, "Maybe it's for the best. College is for rich kids anyway. We don't belong in those places." For the first time in her life, Maria spoke up. "What if we do belong? What if we just haven't figured out how to get there yet?" The room fell silent. Uncle Roberto stared at her with disapproval. "Maria, don't fill your cousin's head with false hope. We know our place." "But what if our place isn't fixed?" Maria pressed on, feeling her heartbeat in her throat. "What if we could change it?" Abuela Rosa shook her head sadly. "Ay, mija, you're starting to sound like those people on TV who think they're better than their families." That night, Maria overheard her parents talking in worried whispers about her attitude change. Her mother was concerned she was getting ideas above her station, while her father worried she might do something reckless that would hurt the family's stability. "She's acting different, Miguel," her mother said, "like she thinks she's too good for this life we've built." Lying on her couch bed, Maria felt the weight of carrying 2 identities, the obedient daughter who accepted limitations, and the growing person inside her who was learning that those limitations were choices, not facts. She pulled out her hidden notebook and wrote by the light of her phone, "I am not betraying my family by wanting more. I am loving them enough to show them that more is possible." The next week, Maria discovered something that would accelerate her transformation. Online courses, free classes from major universities, available to anyone with internet access. While her neighborhood slept, she began building the education that the system said wasn't meant for her, one secret lesson at a time. 6 months into her secret education, Maria began to notice something extraordinary happening, not just in what she was learning, but in who she was becoming. The changes were subtle at first, like seeds growing underground, invisible to everyone around her, but undeniably real to her. Her grades improved dramatically, but that wasn't the most significant transformation. Maria had learned to see problems as puzzles to solve, rather than permanent obstacles. When the family's washing machine broke and her parents despaired about the repair cost, Maria researched YouTube tutorials and fixed it herself, saving them $200. "How did you know how to do that?" her father asked, genuinely amazed. "I looked it up and learned," Maria replied simply, not mentioning the hours she'd spent studying online courses about critical thinking and problem-solving. She had started applying James Clear's habit principles to her daily life. Every morning at 5 a.m., before her family woke up, Maria would spend 30 minutes writing in her journal, visualizing her future, and reading personal development content on her phone. These small, consistent actions were reshaping her identity from the inside out. "I am the type of person who finds solutions," she wrote in her journal. "I am the type of person who learns continuously. I am the type of person who creates opportunities rather than waiting for them." The transformation began to show in unexpected ways. When her English teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, assigned a college preparatory essay, Maria wrote something so compelling that the teacher pulled her aside after class. "Maria, this is exceptional work. Have you considered applying for the scholarship program I mentioned? Your writing shows remarkable depth and maturity." For the first time, Maria didn't deflect the compliment or make excuses about her circumstances. "Yes, I'd like to learn more about that program." At home, the changes were creating tension. Maria's mother noticed she was staying up later, waking up earlier, and carrying herself differently. "You're becoming distant, Mija," her mother said one evening. "Always reading, always writing. Your family should be enough for you." "Mama, I'm not becoming distant from you," Maria replied carefully. "I'm becoming closer to who I'm meant to be." The real breakthrough came when Maria's younger brother Carlos started struggling with math. Instead of accepting that he's just not good at it, the family's usual response to academic challenges, Maria spent 2 weeks creating a personalized tutoring system for him. She used techniques she'd learned from online education courses, breaking down complex concepts into simple steps. Within a month, Carlos's grades went from D's to B's. The transformation was so dramatic that his teacher called home to ask what had changed. "My sister helped me," Carlos told the teacher. "She makes everything make sense." Word spread quickly in their tight-knit building. Soon, other parents were asking Maria to help their children with homework. She started a small tutoring circle in the community center, charging just enough to buy more books and online courses for herself. "Maria's different now," she overheard Mrs. Rivera telling another neighbor. "She's got this confidence, like she knows something we don't." The truth was, Maria did know something they didn't, that intelligence wasn't fixed, that circumstances weren't permanent, and that small daily actions, compounded over time, could create transformations that seemed impossible from the starting point. But the most profound change was internal. The girl who had once apologized for dreaming had been replaced by a young woman who understood that her dreams weren't just personal aspirations. They were responsibilities to everyone who had been told that people like them couldn't succeed. Every night, as she updated her goals and visualized her future, Maria felt herself growing into someone her neighborhood had never seen before. Someone who carried hope not as a fragile wish, but as an unshakable conviction that better was not only possible, it was inevitable. 2 years after discovering that hidden video, Maria Gonzalez stood in front of UC Berkeley's admissions office, holding a full scholarship letter that had seemed impossible from her couch bed in East Oakland. But the real victory wasn't in her escape. It was in what she had chosen to bring with her. The transformation had become undeniable. Maria's tutoring program now served 43 children in her neighborhood, and their collective academic improvement had caught the attention of the school district. More importantly, she had proven something that everyone said was impossible. That environment doesn't determine destiny when you change your internal environment first. "I still can't believe you did this," her mother said, holding the scholarship letter with trembling hands. The same woman who had once warned Maria against getting ideas above her station was now calling relatives to share her daughter's achievement. But Maria's greatest success wasn't personal, it was generational. Carlos, her younger brother, had not only maintained his improved grades, but had started teaching other kids in the building. He carried himself differently now, with the quiet confidence of someone who had learned that intelligence was expandable, not fixed. "Maria showed me that being smart isn't about being born special," Carlos told their neighbor. "It's about working on your brain, like working on your muscles." The ripple effects extended throughout their community. Mrs. Rivera, who had once mocked Carmen's nursing dreams, enrolled in GED classes after watching Maria's transformation. "If that girl can learn to fix washing machines and teach math, maybe I can learn to read better," she admitted. Even Abuela Rosa had shifted her perspective. "Mija, I was wrong," she told Maria one evening. "I thought keeping you small would keep you safe. But you showed me that staying small is the most dangerous thing of all." The neighborhood's relationship with education began to change. Parents who had once dismissed school as not for people like us started attending parent-teacher conferences. Children who had accepted poor performance as normal began asking Maria for help with study strategies. Dr. Martinez, a professor from UC Berkeley who had heard about Maria's work through the scholarship committee, visited the community center where she held her tutoring sessions. "What you've done here is remarkable," he told her. "You've created what we call a culture of possibility in an environment that traditionally reinforces limitation." "I just showed them what I had to learn myself," Maria replied, "that the stories we tell ourselves about what's possible become our reality." As graduation approached, Maria faced a choice that would define her impact. She could leave for Berkeley and never look back, or she could ensure that the transformation she had sparked would continue without her. She chose to establish the East Oakland Excellence Initiative, a peer-to-peer mentoring program that would train other young people to teach what she had learned about mindset, habits, and academic achievement. Carlos would lead it in her absence. On her last day in the neighborhood before leaving for college, Maria walked the same streets where dreaming had once been treated as a crime. But something fundamental had shifted. She saw children carrying books with confidence, parents discussing their kids' college plans, and teenagers talking about starting businesses instead of accepting limitation as legacy. "You know what you really did?" her father asked, as they stood on the building's rooftop looking out over East Oakland. "You didn't just prove that one person could leave, you proved that we all could grow." Maria smiled, understanding that her true success wasn't in escaping her circumstances, but in transforming them. She had learned the most powerful truth of all, that when you change your mind about what's possible, you don't just change your life. You change the lives of everyone around you who dares to follow your example. Remember this eternal truth. The environment that tries to limit you is not your master, but your training ground. When you develop the unshakable belief that growth is always possible, you become living proof that circumstances bow to consciousness, and your transformation becomes permission for others to transcend their own limitations.